Jonathan Taylor has requested a trade. The Indianapolis Colts have granted him until August 29th to find a partner. The running back drama continues in the NFL. So let's break it down with some tinfoil hat talk. I'm just a fan. I've got no sources, just my hat and the ability to connect the dots. I'm no better than that Charlie Kelly meme, but hey, let me bring to you what I've been hearing so far. That up to 6 teams are in the Jonathan Taylor race, including the Miami Dolphins. We've already been denied our first offer, but I got to believe that's a little Chris Greer lowball. We'll get into that further. The other teams, though, so far reportedly are the Chargers. The Bears have thrown their hat in the ring, and the Eagles as well, despite just getting DeAndre Swift from Taylor's same class. But hey, maybe they flip Swift and get Taylor. Boom. We'll talk about that further. As of now, though, 4 of those 6 teams, some pretty serious contenders. Now, the Colts want a first-round pick. With the state of the running back market right now, I get it. Jonathan Taylor's 24 years old. He's young, one of the best running backs in the NFL, maybe one of the best young players in the league. But a first-round pick is a hefty price to pay, considering you're not only getting Jonathan Taylor, who stud running back, did miss 6 games last year, but that's not too much of a concern. What concerns you more is the fact that he wants a $12 to $15 million multi-year deal. That's why he's having problems with the Colts in the first place, and that's the first thing you have to do. You'd have to talk to his agent, come to the understanding that you're going to pay him, and then he'll agree to come over. If not, you're just going to run into the same problem with the Colts, and he's going to sit out with you. So a first-round pick, probably not happening. Maybe not even a second-round pick. They could try to play some hardball with the second-round pick, maybe a second and a player, but I've been hearing ranging as high as that to as low as 2/3, a third, maybe a third and a fourth rounder, some day 3 picks. Like the price range for running backs is ranging throughout the league. It's one of the reasons why, for example, the Broncos have pulled out of the race. They said that they do not want to play around with this. It's not worth the price for Jonathan Taylor. So where does that leave the Miami Dolphins, for example? Now, I do believe that the Miami Dolphins, they can play around with some players. Emmanuel Ogbah would be a nice guy to throw in there. He fits the Colts defense, and he'd be freeing up some money for us as well, where we have a crowded D-line room. Maybe we could use Ogbah for sure, and you want a deep rotational pass rushing group. But at the end of the day, you could flip him and a third-round pick, maybe at most a second, but that'd be tough. Maybe that's if you're convincing them to eat up Ogbah's contract more. But regardless, you flip him and you bring in Jonathan Taylor. That's glorious. We fix our running back room, which I get it. Some will say we don't really need that. Yes and no. I do like Mostert, Wilson, and A-Chain. We are not the greatest running back room, but I do like the potential these speedsters have. But Jonathan Taylor is a proven workhorse running back in the NFL who can hang it with the best of them. Okay. Instead of having this committee approach, we can rock it mostly with Taylor and then sprinkle in our speedsters to keep them fresh. And in a world where maybe we trade them Jeff Wilson and then a second or a third round pick, I'm fine with that as well. Try not to give up a second. Definitely not giving up a first after we gave up in consecutive years for Tyreek and Chubb. Jonathan Taylor's of that caliber player, but the running back price is not the same as a wide receiver or edge rusher price. So, give up a second or third and a player like Ogbah or Jeff Wilson, maybe even Cedric Wilson, I'm okay with that. Anything further, though, and I'm simply not willing to pay that price, I think, for a running back. When I actually really like A-Chain, and I have a video of him where I think he has the chops to maybe be defensive rookie of the year if we use him in the right ways. Now, what we'll probably do right now is rock with the committee. Mostert and Wilson ran admirably behind a worse line last year than what we have right now on paper. Health permitting, we should have an improved O-line, so hopefully an improved running game. But a guy like Taylor, also, you have to remember, if Tua does go down, knock on wood, God forbid, if he goes down, you have Taylor ready to run the rock, ready to support a guy like Skylar Thompson, like Mike White. And in the event that does happen, I'm more comfortable with the offense, okay? Because then you have our stud receivers on the outside who are daring you, forcing you to contend with them and to stop those speedsters or you're going to get burned. But then you'd have a premier rushing talent like Jonathan Taylor, and the defensive coordinator would be torn. What do I do? Do I play the run? Do I play the pass? And eventually you're going to burn them. You're going to defeat them, and it's going to just be a much more dynamic offense, which is crazy to believe when we already had such an exciting offense last year. With health permitted, an offense of our receiver caliber, plus adding Jonathan Taylor would be otherworldly, honestly, and the NFL would be shaking in their boots. But it's all about the price. Obviously, we still also are over the cap. We can free up some space. I'm not a capologist, okay? So I don't know exactly how that works. I know it involves guys like Agba, it involves giving extensions, but that is a part of it. Though we also have to pay guys like Christian Wilkins. Maybe we can play around with the cap with the guarantees and base salaries and all of that stuff with Taylor, with Wilkins, but it becomes a much more challenging world. If Greer wants to make it work, he can. The NFL does it plenty of times. You know, I lean between the cap's not real and then the cap is manipulatable. Either way, there is ways to play and toy around with it to a certain extent. I haven't looked into too much of it. So be that as it may, Jonathan Taylor, worth the price to a certain point. I'm not willing to overpay for him though. Now, for the other teams in the NFL that are looking at Jonathan Taylor, such as the Eagles, the Chargers, the Bears, in no particular order, they can offer a couple of different packages. If the Chargers, they were having some issues with Austin Eckler earlier in the season, maybe you decided to go a little younger, you flip him to Indianapolis and with some draft compensation, similar caliber players, just the age difference, bam, you've got that solved a little bit for the Chargers. Austin Eckler can get paid too. Although then it raises the question, if the Chargers were struggling to pay Austin Eckler, would the Colts do so? It's an interesting case. Not too sure on that one. So you can bump over to the Eagles. Now, if the Eagles were to trade for Jonathan Taylor, I have to believe they would include DeAndre Swift. Now, they just got him from the Lions and they are in the same draft class. So it's a little weird to link them together, but there's just no world where I see Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift on the same Eagles team. Now, they are trying to build a super team there, similar to what the Dolphins have done, but my God, that would definitely get them to the Super Bowl. However, to make the price cheaper, I would definitely see them saying, hey, Indy, you have a disgruntled young running back from 2020. We'll give you DeAndre Swift. He's young, looking to revamp his career. Probably won't cost you as much as an extension for Jonathan Taylor. And if it works, you pay him for cheap, and you've got a cheaper back than Jonathan Taylor would. It's still a good talent. If he doesn't work, it was a 1 year rental. Even if it does work and you don't want to pay him, it's still a nice 1 year rental, and you're recovering off Jonathan Taylor a bit, still supporting Anthony Richardson. I can see DeAndre Swift to the Colts, okay, for Jonathan Taylor. That'd be now draft compensation. GMs would have to haggle that out, what the difference is, but that could be an interesting move there. Now for the Bears, they did just draft running back in the fourth round. Bijan Robinson's backup. Rojo Johnson, I think Roscoe Johnson, can't say the last name, whatever it may be. He was a great back. The only reason he wasn't a starter is because he had Bijan Robinson in front of him at Texas. So in the fourth round, the Bears got a good guy with good measurables. They also have Khalil Herbert. Shout out that American Heritage vibes. But Khalil, I hope he can be a 3 down back. I'm not sure if Chicago's going to use him that way. They have those two backs to play around with. And I don't know if they'd add a guy like Jonathan Taylor in the mix, but hey, who knows? Crazier things have happened in the NFL. And maybe they trade Khalil Herbert to Indianapolis. That could be pretty cool for him in his career. Again, the same concept of him being a cheaper back for them. They can play around with Khalil, and the Colts don't have to pay him crazy money. I hope they do. Hope Khalil gets the big bucks. But at the end of the day, maybe they see it as a cheaper option. We're still a good caliber, good talent of a player. That's the running back game for those three teams. They'd probably involved in trading their backs if they're not trying to trade some players. I'm not too versed on the other nuances of their team. Maybe they have other positions of surplus that they can give up. It makes more sense. If you've got some ideas, drop it in the comments. If you've heard of other teams looking for it, that's awesome too. But that's really what I've been hearing on the Jonathan Taylor talk. Now, should the Dolphins do it or not is a whole nother question. I really do think that it would help us become an elite offense. Again, for me, it is about the price. If it is worth the price, if we're not offering a first rounder, if we're not trading crazy personnel, if we're keeping it simple, second or third round pick, and a player that's not too backbreaking at most, you know, a guy like Ogba, that's fine. But if not, I'm down to stay with what I've got right now. I like our running back room. There's talks of we need to improve our offensive line first. Maybe the team is looking at the training camp cuts that are about to come right now. We'll see what the Dolphins decide to do. We have until August 29th to make a move. If not, Jonathan Taylor starts season on the pup and potentially sits the entire season out for the Colts. So the time is a ticking. Chris Greer, make your move. I hope we find some action. But hey, regardless, the NFL keeps on delivering in the preseason, keeps giving us a little bit more juice as you get closer to the season opener. Follow along for more Dolphins news, for more football talk, for more sports talk. We'll be doing some more messy videos soon. And yeah, that was some tinfoil hat talk. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought about my trade scenarios. If I was ridiculously off, if I wasn't crazy enough, if you've heard anything juicier, or if you've got any relevant news. Again, I've got no sources, just the guy with the tinfoil hat who likes to connect the dots. So, hey, thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, comment, maybe subscribe if you already aren't. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all soon with some more Dolphins talk as the season starts. So, fins up, chins up. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Peace.